UFC 235 officially in the books here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. That is Dominick Cruz, and I feel like I've died and gone to heaven. Wow, what an honor this is for me, Dom. Thank you for joining me.
Man, I'm just glad I got to see these fights.
Yes,
these fights were awesome tonight.
Okay, let's talk about it.
It's a pleasure to be here with you too.
As always, let's talk about Jon Jones first. He retains his title. He goes the distance. Are you surprised this fight went the distance?
Kind of, yes, actually, but kind of not too, because Anthony Smith is so durable. That's the one thing you would expect him to be durable. But what I'm surprised at was the pace of the fight, and kind of how Anthony Smith ended the fight allowed him to survive. It was like curling in the corner allowed illegal strikes to be more prevalent, and it kept powerful, significant strikes from landing. And it was interesting because it was just funny to watch because he had to take it, but you almost have to just say, I can't do anything to be in that position. So it's just not how I expected it. I thought you might just get up and try to fight your way out of it, but I guess that's how good Jon Jones is. He just shuts you down.
If we were scoring this like we were back in school, what grade would you give his performance tonight?
For Jones?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was complete and total domination. You can't look at it any other way. He didn't get the finish, but it wasn't, he was never in danger. He got hit maybe 2 or 3 times at most. And other than that, you know, maybe a B+, A-.
Okay, wow, that's actually better than I thought. I want to ask you about the psychology of a fighter, because I was watching this fight with both Michael Bisping and Chael Sonnen. That sequence towards the end of the 4th round where he clearly landed an illegal knee. I said to them, I would have taken the victory. If I'm Anthony Smith, I'm running home with that belt. They said, no, there's no honor in that. You can't do it. And I thought Anthony said all the right things. What would you do in that situation?
I think the guy said it right. And I don't think you would really take it like that, Ariel. I got, you know, we're going to go ahead and tell, for the world, we're going to say you wouldn't take it either.
Okay, fair enough. You wouldn't do that? There's no part of you?
Never.
That's life-changing.
Absolutely
never.
Why?
Explain why.
Well, this is a samurai-style fight. You got to have the mentality for that. You're not going in there to just, oh, I won and I got a fluke win. You're in there to earn it. We're in there, we sweat, we bleed, and we train to earn something. We don't do it because we just want a belt. And Anthony Smith is that at its essence.
Anthony Smith just went the distance with arguably the greatest of all time. This was a man who was a journeyman who never should have been in this title fight to begin with, right? A year ago, he lost to Thiago Santos. He keeps telling us he never should have been here. If you're Anthony, are you walking away with some kind of moral victory? Is there any silver lining to what happened here tonight for him?
I think the silver lining is that he can learn that maybe he was here already and gave himself no chance by saying he didn't belong here. Maybe giving the mentality that I don't belong here gave him so much hope that he didn't give himself a chance to be in there with him in the time he needed to be. He went the distance. And the thing is, if you're going to be in there, you might as well believe that you belong there forever from beginning to end because you are there. And that's the one thing I think he's going to get from this is you got to look back and say, man, did I give it everything I had? Yes, I did. But did I believe all the way through that I belong there and that I could do it? I don't know. That's up to Anthony Smith to think about. That's a question he'll be with, I think.
So for the last couple of years, light heavyweight has been a little bit shallow, but all of a sudden there's this influx of new talent. We saw Thiago Santos last week look really good. Johnny Walker tonight as well looked very good. There's Corey Anderson out there who's banging the drum. If you're Jon Jones, if you're the UFC, who do you want to see Johnny Bones fight next?
Oh my gosh, Ariel, I would need a lineup of the top 5 to see that, to be honest. But I would say if I had to pick somebody off the top of my head that I could think of that's looking awesome, it's Thiago Santos. Yep.
Thiago Santos has looked good. Walker as well, maybe not quite there just yet. And of course, he injured his shoulder in that bizarre celebration.
And DC's there too.
Yes.
Let's not forget that. He's always there. DC is always there. And Johnny Walker, sorry about your shoulder, man. You're gonna, you know, he's gonna need something for that. I just hurt my shoulder, and it didn't look too good the way he landed.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to DC earlier today, and I asked him if he was going to watch Jon Jones's fight, and he told me probably not. Who's texting me in the middle of the fight? Play-by-play? DC.
Yeah.
He was watching. He certainly was watching, and I think he was waiting to see if he'd say something about him. Jon Jones did not say anything about Daniel Cormier after the fight. Now let's talk about the co-main event. Kamaru Usman is the new UFC welterweight champion. He's the first African-born UFC champion. What a performance. A dominant performance. He breaks the record for most body shots landed in a UFC fight, 192. Did you expect him to do that to Tyron Woodley?
I don't think anybody expected that. I mean, you can go and look at the breakdown I did on Unlocking Victory, and you can see the breakdown that I thought could happen. However, I thought Tyron Woodley would put up more of a fight than he did. Whatever Usman was doing, it was keeping him offset, and the first thing Usman did was attack that single leg, and then he attacked the single leg, and that really seemed to off balance and offset Woodley. Woodley always stays on his back foot, always rides the fence. But Usman had the combinations with the wrestling to chain wrestle to get him to the floor. And when Woodley's on his back, he shows that his black belt isn't as prevalent and his wrestling isn't as prevalent.
What could Woodley have done at any point to change the course of this fight, or do you think it was just all Usman from the get-go?
I think it was all Usman from the get-go. To me, it just looked like Woodley just didn't show up tonight.
Yeah.
He looked just flat. He looked asleep. When his cornermen were in his face yelling, trying to hype him up, he had this blank stare in his eyes like he wasn't here.
Yeah.
It was like a ghost to me. And that's not to take anything away from Usman. Maybe Usman just did that. Let's be honest. Yeah. He switched everything up. He was going from wrestling to striking, back to the wrestling. He was landing big shots. He was hurting Woodley at times, and he was mixing it up. Woodley was looking for a right hand and a guillotine, and you can go with the tape, and that's what you will see, a right hand and a guillotine. That's it.
And how about this little nugget? I just spoke to Usman's manager, Ali Abdelaziz. He showed me a video of Usman on Monday. He was in a walking boot. He had a fractured foot, had to get a cortisone shot. You're nodding your head like you knew this. Did you know about this?
I know about it because of the fighter meetings, but it's not our job. It's not about me or what I say. It's about these fighters.
Right.
And when you're going in there with an injury like that, I've had to do that too. And when you go in with these injuries and you have to shoot them with cortisone, I mean, this is the sport.
Right.
But the cortisone does numb it, and you can't really feel anything. And it's legal. So you're allowed to do that. It numbs it. But then after the cortisone wears off, you're in a world of pain. And whatever damage you do, you gotta fix. So Usman will need to fix that, whatever's going on. But a full recovery, hopefully he didn't break it too bad that it was already fractured. But cortisone does wonders. I've had to shoot both my hands. A lot of people have done it. Football players, all pro sports. That's what we use.
Cortisone, it does wonders. That is a quote from Dominick Cruz. So everyone wants to know what's next. Colby Covington, he was omnipresent this week in Las Vegas. He was ringside with the belt, with the hat, with the shirt. Is that the fight you want to see next for Kamaru Usman?
Yeah, why not? I mean, he's made so much noise. He even got Dana White laughing after he pissed him off. So, like, if you can piss Dana White off and then make him laugh,
that's a skill.
It's a skill. It's an art. And the guy, he's doing it.
Who would you favor in that fight? I know it's early, but...
It's early. I need to look at the film, Ariel. You know me. I don't like to make uneducated decisions. And I would say the way Usman looked, he's hard to beat, though.
Okay. I tried to catch you off guard, but you're too good for me. Let me ask you about Funky Ben Askren. So the much-anticipated debut of Ben Askren comes and goes. He defeats Robbie Lawler via submission. A sort of bulldog...
bulldog choke.
It was a bulldog. Okay, it was funky, to steal phrase from Ben Askren. It started off horribly. It looked like he was about to get knocked out, and it seemed like a controversial finish. Do you feel like Herb Dean made the right call?
It's hard to say what's wrong and right when he was making the best call that he saw. So I would say he made the right call that he saw, but I would say that it was a wrong call because we saw that he wasn't out. So it's hard to say because when you're the ref, you do what you got to do. You're seeing what you see. And he lifted the hand. He did the steps to make sure that Robbie Lawler was out. However, being in that choke, as I've been in it before, it's not a choke unless it's under your chin, really. If it's across your jawline, it hurts really bad.
Right.
But you kind of just got to wait it out. Wait out the squeeze of the arms. And hopefully they blow their arms out trying to squeeze your head off. But it's not actually choking you unless it's on this little vein that I got on the side of my neck here.
Oh, yes, I see it.
And then it cuts off the air, too. We've seen guys like Damian Maia get chokes where the chin's in, but they're cranking the neck. So I don't think it was a neck crank that he didn't tap, and I don't think it was a blood choke or an air choke. So I think Robbie Lawler was kind of waiting it out, hoping he would blow his arms out, and eventually you could slide out. You got a bald head. There's a lot of sweat. There's a lot of opportunities there, to be honest, to keep that fight going. I pray they run that back again, personally.
Really?
I do.
Right away?
Personally, yeah. I think that's what should happen because that fight was looking insane. And it was funky, but it was impressive to watch Askren be able to survive that onslaught early and then even just to get to that position and keep the bulldog choke the way he transitioned to it. Yes, he is another level of grappler because most people, you don't get a hold of somebody after you take a beating like that.
Right.
And he does, and he keeps a hold of you, and he doesn't let go, and he transitions from limb to neck to limb to leg. And it's an art watching him grapple. I mean, might not look super pretty in the fight presence, but if you understand grappling, I mean, the way he keeps a hold of people and the way he sticks to them, it's unlike almost anybody.
I thought it was the right call. I know you didn't ask, but I was okay with it.
Okay, why?
I don't think Robbie seemed to have a problem with it. I think he was initially upset, but then he was like, yeah, he got me.
I think that he didn't tap, and I think that he knows at a certain point, what are you going to do if the refs see it? What are you going to cry and whine about it like TJ? Or are you just going to Or are you just going to move forward and say, I took my loss, I can't change it. That's just the way it is, right?
Why do you have to bring up TJ? We're just having like a friendly conversation here.
Well, you got people who, as champions, who hold themselves and take responsibility when they mess up, and you got the ones that don't. Robbie Lawler takes responsibility, and the other champion doesn't.
Well said. Well said. All right, a great night here in Las Vegas. So many great performances. We could stick around here for another hour, but they're telling us to get going and go home. Pedro Munoz with a big win over Cody Garbrandt. How about Weili Zhang, who continues to impress from China? Zabit Magomedsharipov. I told you about Johnny Walker. A phenomenal night here in Las Vegas. It has come and gone. Appreciate you watching our coverage of UFC 235 all week long from here in Sin City. For Dominick Cruz, I'm Ariel Helwani. Good night from Las Vegas.